Welcome to Aurelius Whitlock's Murder Museum.
I'm Marcus Richardson.
And I'm Nathan Hicken.
And I am mid-vision. I am envisioning.
Yes.
Can I control myself in the visions? Can I stop doing what I'm doing?
You have limited control. You can move the camera, essentially.
Okay, this is a cutscene with a movable camera. To recap, I am in a vision where I am pounding this generator.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you continue smashing the generator. Are you panning the camera at all, or are you just letting it play out?
That would be dumb to look slightly. Yeah, I definitely want to look around.
Okay.
I want to see if I can ascertain who I am, who else is around here. I had a feeling that there might have been sabotage to the lighthouse, so it would be nice to figure out if this is from last night or if this is from a year ago.
Okay. You look around. It is late evening, but there's still enough light to see. There's no storm outside. Looks calm. You do catch a glimpse of a newspaper, conveniently telling you the date is 1998.
I don't remember if that's now or
that is last year. The date is the previous year.
Okay.
August 3rd.
Oh, thank you, convenient newspaper.
Haha.
That's exactly what I was wondering.
As you are hammering the generator, you hear a voice coming from below. A woman's voice calling, Horatio! Horatio! Is that you up there? What's going on? And you hear footsteps coming up. As you hear that, the POV shot, you drop the hammer, you grab the jar of sand, and you hastily put something inside and drop it inside the panel before closing it shut. And the vision fades.
I put something in the jar.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't recognize the name Horatio. Have I heard it before? Is that what you're about to say?
I don't know if you've ever heard it before.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I know the name of Vincent Elwood, the director of the fort, Riley McGuire, someone trying to buy the lighthouse and the fort. There's my family, the Cuthberts. There's Genevieve and Emoline. So I believe Horatio is new to me.
It feels familiar to you, though you can't say why.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, back to my senses. I do think there's more for me to look around in this generator. Can I start with the jar of sand and see if I can retrieve what was dropped in the vision?
You fish out a small piece of folded paper that says, "You take care of the generator, I'll take care of the fort."
And this is a mason jar of sand?
A glass jar of sand. Nothing seems significant about the jar.
Anything seems significant about the sand?
The jar is labeled. It says sand from the Italian Riviera, which is nice.
I have heard of someone from the Riviera. That would be, I have it right here, Georgia Boyle, one of the people who died in the Wichita whaler accident. Which, this is the night of that, so that is interesting. Okay, and you said there's a piece of parchment as well in here?
Piece of parchment. You look at it, and this is what you see. It's a little illustration.
So watches the nightmare, is what it says. So watches the nightmare, and it has a diagram of 8, I want to say, levers or switches.
You look up and you notice it bears a striking resemblance to the actual levers controlling the lights on the wall, which look like this. As you get a closer look, you notice there are symbols inscribed on them.
Oh, wow. The symbols on these look like a snowflake, a firefly, a diamond or gem, a tree, half a heart, a rose, a ghost, and a mirror. So watches the nightmare. I don't know if those letters or those words correspond to things. I don't think so, because so doesn't look like anything. Watches, yeah. I don't know if I have enough yet to solve this. Maybe I do.
As you are peering over the levers, you hear footsteps yourself in the actual present, and Emoline pokes her head in. Ah, I thought I'd find you here. Snooping around?
Yes, though this is a family-owned building, so I don't think you can call it snooping when it's your own residence.
That is fair, though I didn't know you and your dad had been close in the past year. Sorry if that's rude of me.
You're referring to how we got distant after the accident and the death of my mother.
Yes.
I think that night had an effect on a lot of people. What was it like for you? Remind me, did you arrive here after that?
No, we were here. Both my sister and I have been here for a little while now. But, we took it in stride. We didn't really know a lot of the people here very well. So it didn't quite affect me personally, other than we had more to cover with the paper.
Yeah, I did recover your article.
Oh, thank you.
I recovered it. I didn't say whether I liked it or not.
Oh, well,
but
that's
here
just
it
part
is.
of the course. I just assumed.
The Wichita Whaler, August 12th, 1998. I did notice a little message is scrawled here on this paper. The Melanoy Massacre, and I see handwriting that says, "It's our fault."
Fascinating.
Do you recognize this handwriting? I show it to her.
It's not mine. I don't think I've seen it.
Doesn't look like Genevieve's either.
No. You think Genevieve wrote that? It's our fault. Fascinating.
I mean, I suppose my best guess is it was written by my father. Yeah, I because that's where I found it. It just is an odd thing to write because he should have known it was his fault. Why write it down? What would he have learned from this article? You say that the names of the sailors killed in a horrific crash have been released by the Scarcity Corporation. You list off a bunch of names and what they were doing. So,
if I had to guess, seems he felt an overwhelming burden of guilt. I was never able to talk to your father about the incident. He refused to be interviewed about it. Rightfully so, as most of the town and fort did not seem to hold him in the highest regards following it. Caused the death of half a dozen people, and that's quite hard to come back from. Sorry, not cause. I suppose I shouldn't lay blame any more than anyone else.
If he was the lighthouse keeper, what was my mother's role? What was Rose doing on the roof of the lighthouse that night?
That is a question a lot of us have been asking.
My father, who I know, I obviously don't use his first name because he's my dad, but you know his first name, right?
What a strange question to ask. I suppose, yes, I've mentioned him a couple times in articles I've written. So, yes, his name is Horatio.
Interesting. Okay. Good to know. I've just sort of always thought of my father as father, personally.
I suppose that makes sense, even if you are, 40s?
I lost track somewhere along the way. So you had an interview scheduled with Horatio, with my dad, yesterday. Is that right?
Well, it was scheduled for today.
Okay. And do you have any inkling of what that interview was going to be about?
Well, I was hoping it would be something juicy, like This, she gestures to the paper.
You were hoping it'd be something to do with whatever happened a year ago to the day.
Well, I certainly hope so. Our readership is dropping, and it could really use a boost. Plus, Genevieve and I...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Genevieve and I have a nose for snooping out interesting stories.
Well, you have a death, potentially a very unusual one from last night.
Yes.
I walk over to the balcony. Is there still a body on the wall burning in flames?
The fire is died down. Now it is simply a smoking, smoldering mess. It does not smell pretty, though.
Sorry, what were you saying?
It does not... I was just saying it does...
No, to Emoline. I asked Emoline. Sorry, what were you saying?
Do you know, I've completely lost my train of thought. Well, there has been certainly an interesting death, which is why I am talking to the deceased's son.
Well, you say that you're good at sniffing out stories.
Yes.
So what's your read on the situation? I think I asked Genevieve essentially the same question. What do you know about what's going on here?
What do I know about what's in regards to the death? Like, what do I think happened?
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Do you also think he drunk himself into a stupor and then fell from the tower?
She snorts. Well, I've never seen your father at the pub. I would be surprised, but my guess is if someone has an interview scheduled, it seems very odd to cut it off by drinking yourself into a stupor, throwing yourself off the top of the lighthouse. I'd only guess he had something important to tell, and someone did not want that information out. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
Nope.
But surely, as his son, you must have heard something.
Not that I remember. I was at the pub with Riley McGuire.
Yes, but the weeks of strange noises, lights at the lighthouse, your home, I assumed you would have visited.
Now I'm going to need your perspective on that. You have seen odd lights, odd sounds coming from the lighthouse?
Oh, yes. It's right next to the fort. You can't miss it. Sometimes in the dead of night, horrible screams, purple flashing lights. It's not pretty.
Purple flashing lights. Screams. What kind of screams? Like shrieking sounds or like the screams of people?
A little bit of both. Sounds like your father, but then he'd always appear at his perch the next morning, so he's fine. Tried to check on him the first few times it happened, and he didn't open the door. So we've just let it be.
Did you imagine it as a haunting? Working on a secret project?
Don't tell me.
Working with some light machines and pyrotechnics and sound system.
With all due respect, your father does not seem the most technologically advanced person. But if you're asking if I believe in the supernatural, now that I'm not entirely sure. My sister Genevieve, unfortunately, seems to have a head for the fancy, so you could talk to her more about that. Or our resident pariah, Acadia Quinn.
Haiti Quinn?
Acadia.
Acadia Quinn.
Yes.
And what does your local pariah do?
Well, she's a self-proclaimed soothsayer, medium, and paranormal expert.
Family profession?
So she says. Tell me, what do you think is going on here? She surreptitiously pulls out a notepad.
I think it is awfully strange that the body of my deceased father had a discolored ring around his neck. That doesn't seem very much like an injury that would come from falling from a tower.
No.
Also, the fact that there was a bottle in his pocket, unshattered, almost as if it was placed there.
I was not told this. Genevieve left some details out.
Makes you wonder if maybe she's behind all this.
Oh, believe me, I would know if she were that devious.
Think of it. A struggling paper is looking desperately for a headline to revive their, as you admitted yourself, declining readership. So they take matters into their own hands. A pair of two sisters. sneaks into a tower at night, perpetuates stories of mysterious lights and screams, all on the way to make the biggest story of all, a murder at their own hands.
Ooh, that is very convincing. Perhaps I should hire you to write the short stories.
I'm not hearing a denial. I pull out my own notebook and I squint as I write down a note.
Well, I'm not saying an admission, but I can say that Genevieve and I were both soundly asleep when any murderous shenaniganery occurred.
How would you know if you're asleep if you were asleep? Checkmate.
I suppose I have no comeback for that, but maybe this is all just a dream. Maybe we've never woken up.
Listen to yourself. You said that your sister was the one with crazy ideas.
Touche. Touche.
Side note, speaking of really just reminded of with what you were saying, do you ever get nightmares, Emoline?
For the first time, you kind of see her playful facade drop. What do you mean?
Do you get nightmares? Frequent or otherwise?
Her eyes kind of roll up to the sky a little bit. I mean, yes, but doesn't anyone?
They become more frequent at the fort?
If you mean they become more vivid, yes, I'm frequently finding myself trapped inside a dark, confined space, hearing laughter and whispers and all sorts of horrible things. But after a while, when I think I'm about to go mad, I wake up. Sorry. She shakes her head. Not that that's here or there. I suppose I should get some melatonin.
Or melanoitonin.
Got him.
Speaking of, hey, Melanoy, the name of this ship.
Oh, yes.
Was the name of that ship odd to you? I'd never heard of a vessel named after an archaic name like Melanoy.
Well, the Scarcity Corporation is a strange corporation. I would not put it past them to name a ship thus. I'm not entirely familiar with the namesake Melanoy.
The Scarcity Corporation. What do you know about them? I assume that you looked into them for your story or stories a year ago.
I most certainly did, and they refused any and all comment, besides releasing the name of the dead sailors. They are based in Europe, I found that out, by the heavy toll that my international calls cost.
And they are, I heard, an antique and jewelry business?
Yes. They are an international corporation. There is actually a Scarcity Antique shop and jewelry... a Scarcity Antique and Jewelry shop nearer to the main town.
I'll have to see if my snooping leads me there. Emoline, the reason I was asking about nightmares is it's just been on my mind because I think I'll show her the note that says, "So watches the nightmare." I'll say, found this enigmatic phrase.
Strange. She is silent. Doesn't seem to recognize it, but seems to be pondering it. It looks like the lever's over here. I assume that phrase will, I don't know, point to a specific lever or something?
It's my best guess. Wait, let's see. There is a... Could it be like something called the nightmare looks at something and so watches the nightmare? Isn't there a statue downstairs?
There is. It is of Greek antiquity, I believe.
I probably should look at that.
Out of curiosity, what else are you searching for? She has her notebook at the ready. What other leads are you following? Sorry, I'm much less subtle than my sister. You'll have to forgive me.
Well, I am thinking I want to get people's testimonies or alibis for last night. I have yet to speak to Riley McGuire. Are there... Oh, and Arcadia Quinn. Is there anyone else who was in the fort last night that you think I should add to my list?
Well, There's the pub owner. She was obviously running a pub. You spoke with her a little bit. Last night I heard
Her name?
Wilma Greystone. And then, of course, there's the resident librarian, historian, bookworm, and all-around paperwork pro, Alice Betherby. Believe that's all. Besides the, Officer Mango, bless his heart.
A paperwork pro. I might have something to bring to Alice. Maybe to get her thoughts.
What would that be?
Paperwork. Wasn't that obvious?
Oh, you're not going to give me anything.
I think I've given you quite a bit. I've given you some strange questions, some implications.
That's true, but hardly any answers. Like, first of all, what's the deal with this bird that your father has? It's creepy. She points to the fortune teller parrot.
I could not tell you, but if you have a nickel, maybe it could tell us.
That is a shame. I only carry dollar bills.
A nickel can buy you a lot these days. I don't know why you would have such large bills.
Well, I mean, this is the first thing I've seen in recent times that I can spend a nickel on. It's next time I go to the bank, I'll surely cash out on my nickels.
I thought that 1999 was pre-inflation of any kind.
That's nickel 1999 is worth like $30 today.
We would know. We were born before then.
Yes. And as experts when we were infants and such, yes.
Okay. Emoline, I don't think I have anything else really tangible for you if you think that you have some access to information that I could use. Maybe I can trade some information or work together with you on a problem. But if you're just asking for me to tell you what I'm thinking, I don't have a good reason to take this away from my chest unless I know I have an ally.
That's fair. Well, in that case, do you mind if I tag along?
No, I don't. I think it would be very odd if you were the murderer here.
She laughs high-pitched. What makes you say that? I'm flattered.
How high-pitched? Does it sound like a giggle?
It could be classified as a giggle, yeah.
I don't like that. I have learned to distrust anything that giggles within the murder museum or thereabouts.
Yes, never trust a giggle.
Never trust a giggle. Yeah, you can tag along with me.
Oh, right. She happily skips towards the trapdoor. And then pauses. I assume you were going down, but lead the way.
Yes.
We finished.